I think it's really, just as an actor, a very fun character to play, challenging to play, and I think enormously entertaining for an audience. The movie opens almost at the end of a movie, and this woman who helps him and helps these other people, and it starts this relationship between them, just a dialogue. And she actually has his old job at the 110th. And he is intrigued by her voice and by her abilities, and goes back basically to Washington to take her out to dinner. And what follows is, you know, this story that he's drawn into. And really, it's never go back. You know, he should not have gone back to his past. And he gets drawn into this story to really work with her and help her out of a situation. Reacher is put in a domestic situation when he goes on the run with Turner and with Sam, trying to protect Sam. And Reacher is a kind of, you know, he's just not used to that. He's raised in the military, and he's someone, you know, like anyone, how does he deal with a 15-year-old girl? And that's an element of this story also. The character has a very swift and violent approach. You know, and when you say Reacher, he never leaves a weapon in the field. So he's someone who's going to break your leg. Even if you're knocked out, he's going to break your leg because he doesn't want you coming after him, you know, when he turns his back. So I think that it's just like when you see a movie, it's just very satisfying when you see how this guy fights. He uses the minimal amount of moves and effort to accomplish what he needs to accomplish. And he's someone who is always thinking 10 paces ahead of the guys around him. When you read his books, he likes strong women, and has his old job, which is a very difficult job. You have to be very intelligent, have to be a great leader, and I think he's curious, very fascinated by her. And I think Cobie Smulders is perfectly cast for this. Someone who has, you know, the intelligence and the beauty and the power on screen. You know, when you see her, I believe that she's in the military. You believe she has that kind of intelligence and that type of charm. I thought she was absolutely perfectly cast for it. What I love about Reacher is he's off the grid. He's a character that really has his own moral code. You know, he has a great sense of responsibility and, you know, taking care of the people that can't take care of themselves, and he gets drawn into these stories. And he is a wanderer. He travels around the country, and so he sees the country from and humanity from a very unique perspective. And he's always kind of has that exterior view, and he just doesn't, he wants to live his life and doesn't want to be bothered, yet he gets drawn into these situations where he is really the only one who is capable of resolving them. This is the second film that I've made with Ed Zwick, someone who I greatly admire. I think I think he's such a fine filmmaker. We made Last Samurai together, and it was such a privilege to be able to make that movie, and for me a privilege to be able to work with him again and have this kind of collaboration in this kind of movie with him. You know, he's someone who really, I think, understands a character like Reacher and really wanted to go in and embrace this world, and does it beautifully. Ed is great with actors. He's tremendous with them, and in the same way, like anything, a story, I want to care about the characters. You want to get invested in the characters, and how do you do that, and what kind of structure do you build, you know, as a foundation for these characters? And he looks and finds and mines these wonderful moments. And we do it together, and it's such a pleasure. Even though, you know, you look at the movies that he makes, these epic films, they're very personal. He's a very personal filmmaker. And I think that to have that kind of intimacy with the characters. And also, look, he's a ballsy director. You know, you look at the action that he has, and I think that, you know, that's very tough. This movie's, you know, he really understands. Reacher is he's a badass, tough character who is going to confront something right straight on and go right at it. And that's the force of that character it's really interesting, very dynamic to play, and he understood that, and I think he directed me beautifully, and I had an absolute blast working with him again.